Hi y'all, my name is Jazmin J Robinson and I'm a Democrat and Senior Human Resource Leader running for Congress in Illinois' 7th District. The current Congress representative, Danny Davis, is retiring. So let's talk about how our government got bought and how we can take it back with our vote. So in 2014, professors Martin Gillens from Princeton University and Benjamin I. Page from Northwestern University published their study called Testing Theories of American Politics: Elites, Interest Groups, and Average Citizens. They essentially looked at more than 20 years worth of data from 1981 to 2002 to answer a simple question: does the government represent the people? And this is what they found. For the bottom 90% of income earners, they said, the preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero, statistically non-significant impact upon public policy. So for the bottom 90% of income earners, no, the government does not represent them. So who does our government represent? The top 10% of income earners. So in 2014, when this study was done, in order to be considered the top 10%, you had to make about $146,000 a year. But in today's dollars, due to inflation, that's about $215,000 to $220,000 a year. So who makes that kind of money? Economic elites like doctors, lawyers, commercial airline pilots, software engineers, and corporate management, probably at this director level. The top 10% also consist of organized business interest groups, aka PACs and Lobbyists. Now you might be thinking, well, that's why we need to overturn Citizens United. But Citizens United, that decision happened in 2010, and this study was from 1981 to 2002. That's 8 years before Citizens United. So how does this happen? Well, when a candidate says they want to run for Congress, all these PACs, lobbyists, and the top 10% of income earners basically finance the candidate's entire campaign. So they pay for canvassers to knock on doors or to phone bank. They pay for TV and digital ads, mailers, yard signs, their staff salaries, their office space, legal fees, fundraising events. They literally pay for everything in a hope that voters will vote for their candidate based off of name recognition. And it works. So now, those candidates only won because they had a ton of donations from those PACs, those lobbyists, and the top 10% of income earners, which means those candidates, which are technically now Congress representatives, owe those donors. And how do they pay them back? By making laws that benefit those donors, even when it hurts the voters. As long as that Congress representative stays loyal to their donors, they're safe. Even if voters catch on and vote them out, that's actually a promotion for them, because then they become a lobbyist for their donors and get paid anywhere from $300,000 to $1 million a year. In fact, 50% of all retiring senators and 33% of House representatives become lobbyists. Now, if that Congress representative votes against the donor's best interest, well, those donors say we're going to primary you, meaning they are going to financially support another candidate to run against them in the primary election. And they do it, and that other candidate wins. Now, let's say we have a candidate that wins and they only accepted individual donations. Well, this is where the corruption gets even worse. So in Congress, in order to write laws, a Congress representative has to be assigned to a committee. You do not write laws unless you are on a committee. Here's the catch. You can't get on a committee until you pay a committee tax or party dues. What's that? Great question. Basically, Congress representatives have to pay their party, both the Republican or the Democratic Party, to get on a committee. So how much? Well, it depends on which committee they want to be on and what position they want on that committee. The most powerful position on a committee is the chairperson. According to Brookings' 2017 article, if you want to be a chairperson for the Ways and Means Committee, and that's the committee that writes our tax and Social Security laws, if you're a Republican, you have to pay $1.2 million. And if you're a Democrat, you have to pay $1.5 million. So a Congress representative who only took individual donations can't afford to pay millions to get on committees. So where are they going to get this money? Well, the Democratic and the Republican Party tell those members of Congress to spend 4 hours a day calling those PACs, lobbyists, and the top 10% of income earners and ask for donations. So they spend half their workday fundraising versus doing the job you elected them to do. So who writes these laws that come out of the committees? The lobbyists do. And who do those lobbyists represent? PACs in the top 10% of income earners. And what happens? This is what happens. According to a 2014 study by Sunlight Foundation, PACs lobbyists and the top 10% of income earners invested $5.8 billion in campaigns, and they got $4.4 trillion in taxpayer subsidies and support. Do you know what the bottom 90% of income earners can have with $4.4 trillion? I do. They can have universal, free, high-quality health care. That includes elder care and home visits. They could also have universal, free, high-quality education. That includes childcare, public colleges, and trade schools. We could also pay for government reform. We could finally break down monopolies, which raise costs for all of us, from groceries to home repair. We could finally have a living wage and even provide small businesses with credits to help them through the transition of providing a living wage to their employees. We could do all of that and still have about $1 trillion left over to pay down our national debt. And the most heartbreaking thing about all of this is, according to a 2023 Pew Research Center survey, 72% of Americans say there should be limits on spending by individuals and organizations. And if you break that down by party, that's 76% of Democrats and 71% of Republicans. So how do we fix this? Well, in my opinion, a constitutional amendment to ban all PACs and lobbyists and have publicly funded elections. Fun fact, our presidency actually has a publicly funded option called the Presidential Election Campaign Fund, but it's kind of obsolete because the rules are so restrictive. So if a candidate accepts the public grant, they're forced to cap their spending, which makes it kind of impossible to compete with billion-dollar campaigns. Barack Obama was the first major candidate to reject the public funding in 2008 general election, so he could raise unlimited private money. The last major party candidate to accept the public grant was John McCain that same year. So this isn't a radical idea, it's a proven one. States like Maine and Arizona have used clean election systems for decades, and New York recently launched its own public matching program. It's not about inventing something new, it's about returning to clean campaign financing. Now, I know some people will say there are good PACs and lobbyists. Here's my counter argument to that. Those good PACs and those good lobbyists will always be outspent by those bad PACs and bad lobbyists. Also, in my opinion, there is no such thing as a good PAC or lobbyist because they destroy our democracy by having more influence on our government than voters. But we're never going to get that constitutional amendment or any reform if we don't vote in our primary elections. On average, only 20% of eligible voters participate in primary elections. Within Illinois' 7th district, it's about 14%. This is why voting is the most important thing any American can do, especially in the primary election. I would argue the primary election is probably the most important election. The second most important thing is voting for candidates that will actually represent you and not donors. So when you see candidates that have 300,000 or $1 million, you have to ask who's financing them. Also, look at those individual donations. Are they small dollar donations like under $200, or are they max donations like $6,000? The average American can't afford $6,000 to donate to a campaign, but the top 10% can. Honestly, banning PACs and lobbyists and moving to a publicly funded election should be every candidate's number one priority. And if it's not, don't vote for them. So you're probably thinking, how do I find out the candidates that are running for Congress? How do I check who's financing them? What's my primary election date? How can I call my Congress representative to give them feedback? Well, I'm a senior human resource leader, so I made a how-to guide. In my bio, you'll see a link that says the loyalty oath to voters, not donors. That tells you step by step what you can do to fight back with your vote. I also include links to the resources and studies I referenced along with explainer videos. The third most important thing you can do is share, like, and comment on this video to bring more attention and awareness to it. Because honestly, people don't know. And when I'm out there canvassing and I explain all of this to voters, they're shocked. They can't believe how corrupt and broken our government actually is. And the only way we can fight back is by educating each other on it and voting. That's really it. Also, I'm only accepting individual donations. This is how much I loathe PACs and lobbyists. So if you want to donate $1 or $2, links in the bio. Also, for Illinois, early voting starts February 5th and election day is March 17th. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Paid for by Jazmin J. Robinson for the people.